Hi everyone, welcome back to my channel. This is Stephanie from Lumeria Star. Today what I wanted to do was do basically a review of this deck. So this isn't like I'll do a walkthrough, I'll share the cards, but this isn't like a first impressions or unboxing because I have worked with this deck in its entirety. So this is the Sacred Cycles Oracle by Jill Pyle and M. Dewey, with illustrations by Jesse White. So this is a 50 card deck and guidebook that I did receive through a Goddess Provisions box. So I will admit, normally I would not have bought this. It just wouldn't have been on my radar, but it found its way to me and I am so grateful that it did, because I'm actually kind of in the process right now of working with the Divine Feminine, working with my own Divine Feminine, and also working with some healing work that I have to do, and healing some of my wounded feminine, a lot of it coming from childhood, teenage years, things like that. So this deck actually found me at a really great time. So I think if I wasn't already doing that work, I probably just wouldn't have gone out of my way to buy it. But again, the universe works like that, and it just made its way to me, and I'm just so grateful because I love this deck. So basically the premise, Sacred Cycles. So it is largely based on the feminine cycle, right? So the menstruation cycle, the cycles of life. However, you don't have to be female, feminine, or have feminine or female sex organs, or you don't have to have a menstrual cycle to work with this deck, because most of the cards have deeper meanings that you can work with. So I'll kind of explain as we go through, but I want to share a little bit just of like the artwork in the cards. I love the artwork in this deck. I think it's really beautiful. The energy is very Divine Feminine, which we all have that energy within us, whether you are masculine or feminine or non-binary. We all have different levels of masculine and feminine energy, yin or yang, it really just depends what you want to call it. But anyway, this deck has a lot of that yin feminine energy, which I love. I love how it's got this like orangey terracotta type color, which represents to me the sacral chakra. So like, I love that connection too. So let's just like take a look at the cards. I have worked with this in its entirety, so it's not in order. When I work with oracle decks in their entirety, what I mean by that is I'll shuffle the deck and I'll pull a card every morning. So like, let's say today I was working with this and I pulled the full moon card. Even if it wasn't a full moon today, which it's not, what I would do is I would work with the guidebook, and depending on what the guidebook kind of like shared with me in regards to information, I would use that as a jumping off point for journal exploration. So this has been a really wonderful tool for me with, working with my Divine Feminine and healing a lot of that wounded feminine energy. So with that being said, I just first want to like go through the artwork, because I will admit this deck is probably not going to be for everyone. I just happen to really love it, but I know it's probably going to be off-putting for some. So we'll just go through this. Take a look if you're interested. So because it is Sacred Cycles, we talk about a lot of different cycles. So one of them being moon cycle. So there's going to be all the moon cycle cards. There's also cards about the feminine cycle, the menstrual cycle rather. Let's see. Oh, I guess I wanted to read what the back says. So deepen your relationship with your body's wisdom, the moon phases, and the rhythms of the earth's sacred cycles. We are all cyclical beings, and this 50 card deck is an oracle for anyone in need of guidance, whether they experience a menstrual cycle or not. So that's really the premise. It's all about cycles we go through as just humans. So we do have menstruation. This is another moon phase card. pregnancy. And some of you might be wondering, like, how would I work with that card if, you know, I'm not pregnant, or I can never get pregnant, or I don't want to be pregnant. But I'll show you with the guidebook how you can still work with this deck. There are some herbs. So we have motherwort, last quarter moon, mother. So we have maiden, mother, and crone in this deck. And I also like how there is diversity in this deck too. Lunar eclipse. And I just think this artwork is stunning. It feels earthy. It feels gentle. We also have as cycles the cycles of the seasons. So we have spring. And we also have parts of the anatomy, which are typically female. So we have clitoris, and that might be off-putting for some. I, on the other hand, am here for this energy. And again, maybe I'll put some of these cards aside, and we can just talk about what the guidebook has to offer. Wild One, I love this card. This is one of my favorites. It's so beautiful. Again, with the seasons of fall, 13 moons, luteal phase. So we do have, again, the cycles of the menstrual cycle, menopause, ovaries, again, more of like the physical anatomy. And then back with the herbs, Mexican sunflower, uterus, ovulation, solar eclipse, dark moon, red tent. There are also like concepts. Crone, look how beautiful that crone card is. I really love that one a lot. Waning crescent moon, return to source, wolf. There are also a few animals in this deck. Empress, look how beautiful she is. Birth, winter, fox, bleeding rituals, bear, vaginal canal. Again, some of these are going to be super off-putting for people. Orgasm, cervix, willow tree, blue moon, labia. Look how beautiful that one is. Let's put that off to the side. Summer, I always pronounce this wrong, follicular phase, which again is part of the menstrual cycle phase. Butterfly, also really beautiful. Fallopian tubes. Menarche, I always also forget how to pronounce that. That's actually the first menstrual cycle. Sun, maiden, waxing crescent moon, waxing gibbous moon, passion flower, conception, and waning gibbous moon. So let's look at some of the cards that might be a little off-putting. You know, I'm just kind of like making an assumption what cards might be off-putting for people. So like parts of the anatomy, maybe people don't know how to work with that. So let's read how you can work with it. So the guidebook essentially, it breaks it down into sections. So there are the celestial cycles, which is the moon, the cycles of the seasons, the hormonal cycle, the cycle of life, plants, animals, ritual, and physical body. So like when it's kind of like structured in that way, I think it makes a lot more sense. And you really can use this deck if you don't identify with being a woman, or you don't identify with some of the anatomy. I do think, you know, and the author even says like this is meant for everyone. So we have some great spreads in here that I haven't tried, and I probably should. I always say that and then I don't. And then each of the cards, this is what I liked about it, each card has like an affirmation, and it also has a journal prompt. So this deck was a really great journaling deck for me. So let's take a look at Clitoris. That might be a card that would be off-putting for people. So the affirmation with this card is pleasure is my birthright. And that is true for everyone. So I think that's very universal. Let's just read what the guidebook has to say. An intricate web of nerves networking well beyond what many believe it to be. The clitoris expands throughout the vulva area surrounding the vaginal opening and is filled with around 8,000 nerve endings. Designed purely for the purpose of pleasure and derived from the Greek word for key, clitoris, the clitoris holds one potential source of the felt experience of bliss within the sacred body. It's time to claim pleasure fully. You can start by looking for simple ways to cultivate more joy each day. As you seek out what fills your mind, body, and soul with sensations of delight, witness the signs and synchronicities that show up to support you along this path. The magnetic energy of joy is undeniable, which is what makes it so scary to those who would perpetuate shame around pleasure. Life can and should be a pleasurable experience. You are capable of experiencing infinite depths of bliss. It's time to give yourself permission to do so and be willing to take the steps needed to release anything standing in your way of your pleasure. So that's kind of like the more general message, which I think works for anyone. And then the journal prompt for anyone who wants to work with it is there something inhibiting me from experiencing deeper pleasure? So I think this would be great for anyone doing any type of healing work. If you're doing any type of trauma work, if you have sexual trauma in your history or in your past, this can be really, really healing. I just love that. So let's look at Labia too. I feel like people wouldn't know what to do with that card. So the affirmation with Labia is I am protected, which is beautiful. So let's read the guidebook for that. Encompassing the external structures of the genital area, the labia surrounds and protects the delicate and powerful parts of the inner generative space. Acting as a guardian and pleasure center, it can also hold on to unprocessed emotions and experiences. Take note of anything that feels a bit exposed or raw at this time and consider how you might give more care to this cherished part of you. In the past, it might have felt liberating and important to share this part of yourself with the world, but now that same part is calling for an internal, nurturing vibration instead. If you're considering whether to bring a new creation or aspect of yourself into the light for others to see, be sure to give yourself plenty of time and space to discern whether this is in alignment and conjures a sense of pleasure. Let joy be your guiding light. And then the journal prompt for this one is, where in my life do I need to show up as the protector for what is precious to me? So again, I feel like these journal prompts are so great. They're so healing. They can be used for anyone, no matter, if you identify male, female, non-binary, or any other type of identification. I do think that this deck has just a very, very healing energy, and the journal prompts were wonderful for me. I truly loved working with this deck. So this one's quickly become a favorite, and I think it's really important in some of the personal work I'm doing. So let's just shuffle, and I'm going to pull a reading for the collective. Let's see what we all need to hear today. All right, so let's see what comes through. As always, no matter when you're watching this, it doesn't matter the day I posted it. If you're watching this video and I pull this card, I want you to know that the universe wants you to see it. There's some type of message in this card for you. And as always, take what resonates and leave the rest. But this message is for you in this moment. Oh, labia. So we've already read that. That's so funny. I'm going to pull one more because I want So I am protected. That was the main message with Labia. And mother energy. So let's take a look at that. Number 23. Okay, really beautiful. The affirmation for mother is, I love myself unconditionally. The archetype of profound nurturing and service, the mother, ensures that a loving embrace caresses all those who are in need of a tender touch. Boundless compassion shines down upon you through the guidance of the Divine Mother, and fertile abundance in all of its forms awaits you with a reminder that you are so deeply cared for. All parts of you are welcome and celebrated here. You are being encouraged to open up to connecting with patient role models who may share their wisdom and guide you along your journey. You will discover profound blessings through acts of service and seeking ways to care for others. This becomes a growing cycle of nourishment and fertility for you and for those you reach with your gifts. So the journal prompt with this is, how open am I to receiving care? And how do I provide care for others? I think that's really great. And intuitively, I'm thinking for everyone, I'd love for you to focus on how open are you to receiving care. Receiving in general tends to be difficult for a lot of us. We might be really naturally inclined to just want to give and care for others, but oftentimes receiving feels strange or awkward for us. It might feel strange or awkward to receive love, to receive help, to receive nurturing and care that we need as adults. It's easier to receive as a child because we're a child, but even into adulthood, we still need to receive all of those things. So just know you are protected and know you are worthy of love and care and nurturing. And how can you receive, how open are you to receiving more of that right now? So that is my message for the collective from this deck. I adore this deck so much, and I'm surprised I did, but you know what? It came at the perfect time, and it's now quickly becoming a very important part of my healing process and healing journey. So this is the Sacred Cycles Oracle. This is by, who published this? This is by Hay House. I'm super curious. What do you all think? Like, are you just completely turned off by this deck, or are you like, oh my gosh, I need this deck now, or you're kind of indifferent? So let me know down in the comments below. Go ahead and give this video a like. I really appreciate it. If you haven't subscribed here already, please do for more tarot content. You can also find me over on Instagram at Lumeria Star, as well as I have a Patreon, which is under the same name, Lumeria Star. So it's all tarot related. If you want to explore more tarot, please connect with me and let me know what you think of this deck down below. So I will see you all in the next video. Take care, everyone. Bye.